You're live from New Delhi. You're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. US President Trump warns Hamas to release hostages or face destruction as US holds unprecedented secret talks for Gaza hostages. Piling pressure on Ukraine, Zelensky for peace deal. US cuts intelligence sharing for Kyiv. EU leaders set to meet for a special summit on defense in Ukraine on Thursday. Ukraine's President Zelensky has been invited for it. India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar reaffirms India's stance on Kashmir, calls for return of stolen part from Pakistan, also says India enjoys best ever relationship with US. And in sports, New Zealand outclasses South Africa in Champions Trophy semi-final to set up title clash against India on Sunday. And on to the details. US President Donald Trump has issued a stern ultimatum to Hamas leaders, warning of further destruction in Gaza if all remaining hostages are not released immediately. In a statement on his Truth Social platform, Trump threatened repercussions for Gaza's population, which has been largely displaced by Israel's military campaign. This comes as a ceasefire teeters, with Israel seeking to extend the first phase until mid-April and Hamas pushing for a transition to the second phase, which would lead to a permanent end to the war. Well, France, Britain and Germany have condemned the humanitarian situation in Gaza as catastrophic, urging Israel to ensure the delivery of aid. The US has also confirmed direct talks with Hamas. With the US envoy on hostage affairs discussing American hostages, Trump's proposal to take over the Gaza Strip has been met with widespread condemnation, while Arab leaders have proposed an alternative plan to finance Gaza's reconstruction through a trust fund. While European nations have unequivocally stated that Hamas must be stripped of its governing role in the Gaza Strip. This declaration came after a UN Security Council meeting where Arab countries plan to rebuild Gaza was discussed. The plan is seen as a counter to US President Donald Trump's proposal for US control and resettlement of Gaza's residents. French diplomat J. Darmadikari emphasized that any future plan must ensure Israel's security, prevent Palestinian displacement, and support unity under the Palestinian Authority. European nations have expressed support for these plans, with Darmadikari urging Israel to allow massive humanitarian aid deliveries, citing this as non-negotiable. Israel has blocked aid deliveries until Hamas accepts its truce terms. And as Egypt unveiled the Gaza reconstruction plan on Tuesday while hosting an Arab League summit in Cairo, Israel and the US rejected the proposal, while the Palestinian militant group Hamas welcomed it. While Hamas, in a statement, welcomed the Arab proposal to rebuild the Gaza Strip under a future PA administration, while the Trump administration rejected the plan, claiming that it does not address the reality that Gaza is currently uninhabitable. The National Security Council spokesperson said President Donald Trump stands by its plan to rebuild Gaza. Moreover, Israel also rejected Egypt's plan, saying that it failed to address realities, and accused the PA and UN agency for the Palestinian refugees, UNRWA, of corruption and support for terrorism. Also, the plan consists of three major stages, including interim measures, reconstruction and governance. The first stage would last about 6 months. However, the other two phases would take place over a combined 4 to 5 years. And the United States has cut off intelligence sharing with Ukraine, a move that could cripple Kyiv's ability to target Russian forces. CIA Director John Ratcliffe confirmed the decision on Wednesday, marking a significant shift in U.S. policy. The move underscores the Trump administration's hardball strategy, using military aid and intelligence as leverage to pressure Ukraine into negotiations. Well, U.S. President Trump revealed on Tuesday that he had received a letter from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky signaling Kyiv's willingness to engage in peace talks. Also, since 2022, U.S. intelligence has been vital to Ukraine's battlefield strategy. The U.S. may resume funding for Ukraine, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt announced on Wednesday as talks over a minerals deal continue. This follows President Trump's decision to halt military aid on Monday after a tense clash with Ukrainian President Zelensky.
I believe what the National Security Council told me in regards to that was that they paused or they are reconsidering the funding for Ukraine.
Well, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky on Wednesday announced a positive movement in talks with Washington, hinting at a potential high-level meeting soon. Kyiv is urgently working to mend ties with its most crucial military ally after last week's tense clash between Zelensky and President Trump at the White House over how to end the conflict. Ukrainian Chief of Staff Andriy Yermak and U.S. National Security Advisor Mike Waltz have already begun discussions. Zelensky hopes for concrete progress by next week. However, this development comes just hours after CIA Director John Ratcliffe confirmed the U.S. has paused intelligence sharing with Ukraine, raising questions about America's shifting stance.
Everyone can see how quickly diplomatic events are unfolding. Today, our teams, Ukraine and the United States, have begun working on a meeting. Andriy Yermak and Michael Waltz have spoken, and there is a positive movement. We hope for the first results next week.
While the Dutch government will reserve $3.8 billion to continue its support for Ukraine in 2026, Netherlands Prime Minister Schoof said the funds would ensure Dutch support to the region, adding that the money could also be used in 2025 if necessary. Well, the previous Dutch government had already earmarked a comparable sum for support through 2025. The Netherlands has been a steadfast supporter of Ukraine with a focus on military aid, criminal investigations and reconstruction efforts. And European Union leaders will convene on Thursday for a special European Council summit focused on European defence and continued support for Ukraine. In a statement on Wednesday, the European Council said that leaders will assess how the EU can further assist Ukraine and establish principles for future actions. Discussions will also cover European contributions to security guarantees aimed at ensuring lasting peace in Ukraine. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has been invited to participate in the meeting. Well, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen has proposed a plan to mobilize $844 billion for European defense, a topic likely to be discussed at the summit. And the United States on Wednesday granted a one-month exemption on its new tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada for U.S. automakers. The pause comes after Trump spoke with leaders of the big three automakers, Ford, General Motors and Stellantis, on Wednesday. The White House said Trump is also open to hearing about other products that should be exempted from the tariffs, which took effect on Tuesday.
We spoke with the big three auto dealers. We are going to give a 1-month exemption on any autos coming through USMCA. Reciprocal tariffs will still go into effect on April 2nd, but at the request of the companies associated with USMCA, the president is giving them an exemption for 1 month so they are not at an economic disadvantage. So the three companies that he spoke to are Stellantis, Ford, and General Motors. They requested the call, they made the ask, and the president is happy to do it. It's a 1-month exemption.
Well, the Wall Street stocks rallied after the announcement, with shares of the three automakers each surging about 6% or more. The American Automotive Policy Council said it applauded Trump's move. Also, U.S. President Donald Trump accused Canadian leader Justin Trudeau of playing up a Canada-U.S. trade war to cling to power after they spoke on phone on Wednesday. Trump, in a social media post, said that Prime Minister Trudeau was unable to tell him when the Canadian election is taking place, which made him curious. Trump further wrote that he then realized that Trudeau is trying to use this issue to stay in power. Also, Trump again took a dig at the Canadian leader, calling him Governor Trudeau and accusing his administration's weak border policies of allowing tremendous amounts of fentanyl and illegal immigrants into the U.S. He also said the call with Trudeau ended in a somewhat friendly manner. Trudeau and Trump have had a fractious relationship since Trump's return to the White House in January as the pair sparred over trade and fentanyl trafficking. And the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs is facing intense backlash over plans to slash its workforce by over 80,000 employees. The proposed cuts aimed at returning the agency to its 2019 staffing levels have drawn fierce criticism from military veteran groups and Democrats. A memo from Veteran Affairs Chief of Staff Christopher Cyrick instructed senior officials to collaborate with Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency to implement the reductions. The stated objectives are to eliminate waste and boost workforce efficiency. However, the scale of the planned layoffs has raised concerns about the agency's ability to provide essential services to military veterans. And during his first presidential address to Congress since returning to the White House for a second term, U.S. President Donald Trump hailed a U.S. asset management firm, BlackRock, for buying 2 Panama Canal ports amid his effort at reclaiming the canal. BlackRock has agreed to buy the ports from their Hong Kong-based owner, C.K. Hutchison, as part of a $22.8 billion deal. This was after facing pressure from Donald Trump over alleged Chinese influence over the crucial waterway. The deal will allow the U.S. consortium control of the major ports of the canal. Following the announcement, C.K. Hutchison's stock soared nearly 25% on the first trading day. And meanwhile, reacting to Donald Trump's reclaiming Panama Canal claims, Panamanian President Jose Raul Mulino said on Wednesday that Trump was lying when he said that the North American leader's administration was reclaiming the Panama Canal. Also, Trump's comments to Congress came after the deal led by U.S. firm BlackRock was announced. The deal will give the U.S. consortium control of key Panama Canal ports amid White House calls to remove them from Chinese ownership. But it also risks heightening tensions between the U.S. and Panama, which have tussled over Trump's claims about the canal. Mulino on Wednesday said that Trump's so-called reclaiming of the canal had not been part of discussion with U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio in a recent visit or with any other U.S. official. And outside Greek Parliament, police dispersed a large demonstration with tear gas and stun grenades after protesters set fire to bins and threw fire bombs. The country has been facing unrest since the recent anniversary of the country's worst rail tragedy in 2023. Opposition parties have submitted a motion to trigger a no-confidence vote against the government over its handling of the disaster. The government is facing intense pressure to respond to the concern of its citizens. And a power failure in Buenos Aires left hundreds of thousands of customers without electricity, shutting off traffic lights, stranding subway passengers and testing the Argentine capital's electric grid for the second time in 24 hours during a sizzling summer heat wave. The blackout began on Wednesday at 12:40 p.m. with the sudden failure of a high-voltage power line and hit over 622,000 customers mere hours after officials had restored service from an early morning outage, the Secretariat of Energy said. The power failure, coming as a heat wave ramped up electricity usage and strained the city's power supply, knocked several substations offline, according to Edesa, an electricity company in Argentina that serves part of Buenos Aires and its suburbs. It said its technicians were racing to restore power. The heat index, which takes humidity into account, climbed to 42 Celsius on Wednesday. Municipal authorities reported that the outage suspended subway service on all lines in both directions and darkened 50 stoplights, causing chaos in central and southern Buenos Aires that forced the deployment of hundreds of traffic cops. And still to come in this edition of DD India Live. Prime Minister Modi to boost tourism and local economy in Uttarakhand as part of the initiative of government's newly launched winter tourism program. Stock indexes surge as Trump exempts automakers from tariffs. Euro hits 4-month high. And Rio Carnival 2025 ends amid vibrant and lively parade.
Complex issues, hidden agendas, twists and turns, strategic games. We think all dots are linked. We just need to connect them. Join me every week as I connect the dots to unravel hidden designs in statecraft, mysteries, and decode issues that matter to you. Watch Connecting the Dots with me at these times on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I'm Lipakshi Kunal and moving on. Time for some weather updates. Fierce wintry conditions hit Kansas, setting off tough blizzard conditions. Authorities have urged residents to take precautions and avoid traveling. The weather authorities have issued a blizzard warning for various areas in east, central and northeast Kansas. Footage showed a street light shaking in the wind as snow blew heavily during a blizzard in Lenexa, Kansas. Temperatures are expected to dip even further, with wind chills predicted to be 12 to 25 degrees below normal. Also, a severe snowstorm has brought Iowa to a standstill, with vehicles stranded on roads and highways across the state. Heavy snowfall and strong winds have created hazardous driving conditions, making it difficult for snowplows to clear the roads. The Iowa authorities has issued a travel warning advising drivers to stay off the roads due to numerous impassable roads caused by stranded and crashed vehicles. The severe weather has also caused power outages, with thousands of households left without electricity. Residents are advised to stay indoors and avoid travel unless absolutely necessary. Fires ravaged northern Mexico state of Nuevo Leon. The region has resisted over 239 fires as of Tuesday. The blazes, largely confined to vacant areas, have damaged electricity towers and severely impacted air quality. A cold front combined with dry conditions created a perfect storm for the fires to spread. No fatalities have been reported, but the situation remains dire. Authorities are working to contain the fires and restore normalcy to the region. Intense rain has caused severe flooding in Manaus, Brazil, with streets and houses underwater. This isn't the first time the city has experienced flooding and is located in the Amazonas state, which is prone to heavy rainfall. The flooding has also caused damage to homes, with some collapsing when deemed at risk. In one instance, around 130 houses were deemed unsafe, forcing dozens of families to evacuate. The city's infrastructure has been impacted, with streets and avenues flooded and access to markets and other areas restricted. On to other stories now. With an aim to promote religious tourism and boost the local economy, homestays, tourism businesses, among others, Prime Minister Narendra Modi to visit Uttarakhand today. The visit will commence with Prime Minister performing rituals at the winter seat of Ma Ganga in Mukhwa. The Prime Minister's itinerary includes flagging off a trek and bike rally and addressing a public gathering in Harsil. This initiative is part of Uttarakhand government's newly launched winter tourism program, which has already attracted thousands of devotees to the region's winter seats, including Gangotri, Yamunotri, Kedarnath and Badrinath. And India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar on Wednesday spoke about steps taken by the government for development in Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. Responding to a question from the member of the audience at the Chatham House in London, Jaishankar said that India is waiting for the return of the stolen part of Kashmir, which is under illegal Pakistani occupation.
Look, on Kashmir, actually we have done, I think, a good job solving most of it. I think removing Article 370 was one step, number one. Then restoring growth and economic activity and social justice in Kashmir was step number two. Holding elections, which were done with a very high turnout, was step number three. I think the part we are waiting for is the return of the stolen part of Kashmir, which is on the under illegal Pakistani occupation. When that's done, I assure you, Kashmir solved.
While taking a question on India's relationship with the United States, Jaishankar said that India has no policy to replace the US dollar as the international reserve currency. He also said India enjoys good relationship with US.
Where the role of the dollar is concerned, I think, you know, we are very realistic about it. We've never had a problem with the dollar. Our relations with the US are probably the best ever that they have been. So we have absolutely no interest in undermining the dollar at all. On the contrary, I think a lot of the problems in our region is the lack of the availability of dollars. So I would say many countries want to see more dollar, not less.
And in business news, stock indexes rose sharply after US President Donald Trump exempted automakers from his 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico for 1 month, while the US dollar fell against most currencies and the euro hit its highest in 4 months. Stocks were volatile, near flat in early trading before turning sharply higher by the afternoon. The euro was on track for its best week since November 2022. The euro also gained a nod against other currencies, including the British pound, the Japanese yen, and the Swiss franc. US Treasury yields climbed as investors assessed the latest US economic data while weighing developments on Trump's tariffs. Oil prices ended lower after US crude oil stockpiles posted a larger than expected build, adding to other headwinds. And on to sports news. In Champions Trophy, New Zealand cruised past South Africa by 50 runs in the second semi-final to set up title clash against India at the Dubai International Cricket Stadium on Sunday. New Zealand stormed into their 7th ICC final after posting a score of 362, which is the highest in Champions Trophy history. Rachin Ravindra scored his 5th ODI 100, while Kane Williamson racked up a 3rd consecutive century against South Africa. Kiwi skipper Mitchell Santner took the 3 crucial wickets of South Africa's captain Temba Bavuma, Rassie van der Sisson and Heinrich Klaassen. The Kiwis will face a confident Indian team in the final who have won all their matches in the tournament, including the one against New Zealand in the group stage. Also, the Entertainers Cricket League has begun with a match between Haryana Hunters and Rajasthan Rangers in Delhi. Social media influencers will compete for glory in the tournament, which will run till March 16th. The matches will be broadcast live on Prasar Bharati's OTT platform, Waves.
The social media influencers now have another platform to showcase their skills. They are ready to make splash on the cricket field. The second edition of the Entertainers Cricket League has kicked off with a match between Haryana Hunters and Rajasthan Rangers in Delhi. A total of 32 matches will be played between 8 teams, including the round-robin stage and then the playoff stage. The second phase of the tournament includes Qualifier 1, Eliminator, Qualifier 2, and Grand Finale. The league will run for the next 2 weeks. Bangalore Bashers, Chennai Smashers, Dynamic Delhi, Haryana Hunters, Kolkata Superstars, Lucknow Lions, Mumbai Disruptors, and Rajasthan Rangers will compete for glory. Cricket lovers will be able to watch the exciting matches live on Prasar Bharati's OTT platform Waves. Apart from Munawar Farooqi and Abhishek Malhan, many stars will be seen in the Entertainers Cricket League, which will make this league more exciting. Sushil Kumar's report for DD India.
Well, Rio de Janeiro has crowned a samba school beija-flor as the 2025 Carnival champion. The vibrant parade, featuring colorful costumes and energetic performances, marked the culmination of weeks of preparation by Rio's samba schools. Take a look. Well, that's all for this edition of DD India Live. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Lipakshi Khurana from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.